All right. Well, what I just learned is I have a 15-minute limit on this free recording app. So sorry for the abrupt end. Let me see if I can figure out where I was. We went through the basic theory of stock issues, and I was about to talk about how we're going to use that in advantages in our actual debates, and had just introduced the idea of uniqueness and link as new terms that we're going to use in a policy style debate. So I have in front of you the handout for the policy debate assignment with the structure we're going to use for advantages. So we're going to start those advantages just like we've started them before, with a tagline, something catchy that we can remember, so that we'll remember what those advantages are called, and that's going to help us all with signposting and flowing later in the debate. So whatever the claim is that you think you're going to prove, and I'm going to show you an example of this in just a moment. Then uniqueness is fulfills the same thing that the talking about the ill or the significant harms in the stock issue framework would provide for you. So uniqueness is you telling a story about what was going on before the action of the plan. You might hear my cat in the background. She's very upset that I'm not paying attention to her. So, oh, it says you story. That should say your story. Your story should include significant harms in the status quo. This helps you set up why the change you propose in your plan is necessary. And we kind of talked about that in stock issues. If there's nothing wrong with the way things are right now, there's no reason to propose a plan and to make a change. So uniqueness is where you're going to tell that story. What's wrong right now? Why are there significant harms? Why we're going to set up why we need a change. The link is you making that change. So the first thing you're going to do is tell a story about the change your plan makes. So you almost always want to start your link story by saying what your plan is. So we go to get a hamburger. I joined Tinder. We passed the $1 trillion relief package, and then you tell us about the immediate effects of that change. This should also include that idea of solvency, part of that Shitza framework, or what in the book they call the cure. The story should include how your plan solves the significant harms, right? I ate food so I'm not hungry anymore. I joined an online dating app. I met someone so I'm less lonely, etc. What are the immediate ways that the immediate effects of that change, and how you solve the things that you set up in your uniqueness story. The last is what we did already with your value debates, is you're going to end with an impact. What is the ultimate result? Why is this argument significant, right? So I have less hunger, so I'm happier. I met someone, I'm not as lonely. People are starting to get checks, and so they can pay their rent, right? So whatever it is. So let me talk about a simple example, and then I'm going to give you a simple example that I want you to work on to develop your first advantages. So I say here, let's take an everyday policy decision and put it into this advantage form. Imagine you and your boyfriend or girlfriend are trying to decide whether to move in together or not. So everyday kind of policy decision. I'm sure you can imagine potential advantages and disadvantages to making that change. Let's focus on one potential advantage in the structure that we've just talked about. So here's my advantage. So I'm going to start with a claim, and then this claim is particularly going to be about money. So my claim is that moving in together is going to save us both money. So first I got to set up that there was something wrong with money, right? I got to tell the uniqueness story. I got to tell what was going on before we ever move in together. So I say in my uniqueness, let's imagine that each of us was paying $1,500 a month in rent. So collectively, we're paying $3,000 in rent. This is putting a financial strain on both of us. It limits our spending on things that we would rather spend that money on, and also hinders our ability to save money for the future, for retirement, for whatever we might want to save for our children's future college fund, right? So that's my uniqueness story, is that right now, status quo, paying this much in rent between the two of us is putting a financial burden on us. So then I have a link. So I'm going to start that link with the action that the plan would take. In this case, the plan says, we're going to move in together. So that's the action we take. The immediate result of that is that our collective rent expense is cut in half, and together we save $1,500 a month. So instead of us collectively paying $3,000 a month in rent, now we're only paying $1,500 in rent. The impact of that is, first, we save money. That's a big impact. But we can also think about not just quantitative impacts, but we can think about qualitative impacts. Like, how does this make me feel? How does this make my life better? So one, I have a decrease in financial anxiety, right? All of a sudden, if I'm paying less in rent every month, I'm not as worried about making ends meet and paying my other bills. I might even have more money to spend on things I like. Maybe I go buy myself a cute pair of shoes, and all of a sudden I'm happier because of that, right? So less anxiety, more spending money, feel happier. So that's pretty simple, right? But that same structure could be used for the relief package that Congress is considering passing right now. And so this basic framework works for simple everyday decisions and works for major national and international decisions. So I'm going to ask you to try it out. So how you're going to try that out is on the discussion boards right now. I've put up a very simple proposition that I think all of you can come up with an advantage for. And that is that our family should get a dog. So hopefully I have somewhere I have that. Here we go. So here's the discussion board on Canvas. I say there, advantages are the basic arguments that an affirmative debater makes in support of a policy proposition. Each one of you in this class needs to post one advantage in support of this sample proposition. If you need a reminder of that structure, watch this video again, or go look at the sample, the handout that's on Canvas, and I even link it there for you right there. So our very simple sample proposition is our family should get a dog. So I'm looking for you to post a full advantage in the discussion boards with that claim, uniqueness, link, and impact. Okay, so full advantage. And then that's all I need for you right now. So I don't need disadvantages yet. We'll start working on those on Wednesday. I'll post another video to talk about disadvantages. And I don't need refutation of any of these advantages or disadvantages yet, because after we get back from spring break, we'll talk about refutation. So hopefully this gives you an idea of where we're going in this class. I am always available by email, and if you want to set up a time to talk on the phone or a Zoom appointment, we can do that too. But I look forward to your questions, and I look forward to seeing your advantages. Miss you all. Hope to see some of you soon.